A really good start. First few minutes, you're winning the clearances, you're getting marks inside 50, but they probably were well on top from that point to the end.
Yeah, well, they're on top in different areas. There's no doubt about that, and probably the two sort of aspects of the game when you look at the champion data lines. If you look at how they exited, their rebound 50s and us being able to contain that or disallow a lot of uncontested marks was a problem for us in the game, whether it was their outnumber in those situations and then having the ball in their hands for too long, and that causes some issues. And then on the flip side, at times, our template to now with our ball movement and what we've been doing up until today's game through the pre-season, couple of games against Hawthorn, we look pretty good in transition on counter offence out of our defensive area, but it's still too much today, and there was a bit of a disconnect and a void through the middle of the ground. We were spread too far, and it made it difficult because we didn't win the battle around the source, and they put better pressure on us than what we put on them. So, look, the most disappointing part, other than probably them having a dominance in some of their flow at times, was that we obviously kicked some points at the start of that last quarter. We're well in it, and then for the margin to blow out by another 5 goals, and that's really what we've spoken about post game, is the most frustrating part after working so hard to get to this point and feeling like we really prepared well for round one. That was the most disconcerting part of the afternoon.
What do you pinpoint? I know it's very early, straight after the game. Fitness, is it heads dropping, or Melbourne just ran over the top of you at the end?
Yeah, there's a number of things. It's probably a collection of some of the things you mentioned, but I wouldn't pinpoint one of them.
You mentioned the uncontested marks earlier. I think Melbourne took 50 above the AFL average today. It was like something like 129. Obviously, it's still early in the season, but is that obviously a big sort of thing to focus on?
Yeah, well, sometimes teams can do that, and their territory game isn't where they'd like it to be. But theirs wasn't really like that. They weren't chipping around with width plays. They were getting through us on skinny and short diagonals, which usually we're better at defending. So, look, we know exactly what went wrong there. As I said, the density through the middle of the ground and being able to tease out the ones that ultimately you can still defend, we just weren't anywhere near what we've been able to execute. So it's not an easy fix because it takes a lot of work, but as a group and as a team, we know we're more capable than that.
Luke, can I ask you about the decision to make Caleb Daniel the sub as well as leaving Jack Macrae out, even though he'd had those multiple games back from the hand?
Yeah, Jack's had 2 back. One he stepped through gingerly, and then he's pretty good the other day. So with Jacko, he had a sort of a stress-related through his femur concern over the pre-season. He worked really hard in his off-season, and then he had that hamstring that he went down with, and he missed quite a bit of training and running, and his capacity to cover the ground needs to be there. And I felt like their midfield were able to do that better than us today. So we're just waiting until Jack's totally ready to perform at his absolute best with the ground cover. And so he's not far away. And yeah, CD, in the roles and responsibilities, he plays all of them pretty well. And with the pre-season, some of the guys we've had, they weren't at their best today. Some of the boys have been at the top of their game really in recent times. Some of them, will be frustrated by their performance today. He's just found himself out of the team, so it's just part of it. And ultimately, the team and our ambition is we pick it with a view to challenge the whole competition. And I felt today going into the game that we might really challenge Melbourne with our run and getting across the ground. And it was a little bit of a surprise that we weren't able to do that. So we'll process that during the week.
Can we expect to see Jack Macrae playing next? I know you said not far away, but it's probably too early to selection, all those sorts of things.
Too early. We'll work through that during the week.
What about Daniel? Does he get a full game next week?
We'll see.
Riley Sanders is the one subbed out. Any injury there? Is it tactical?
No, he's fine. I mean, at that point in time, he was one of probably a handful that could have come off for the experience and stability in the team. Riley's going really well. He's going to be a tremendous player for the club. He's still learning, but he was the one. And ultimately, as the game transitions on and the minutes expire, there's no benefit of hindsight. So we'll look after him and make sure he heads into next week with a positive mindset.
Buku was one of the bright spots today. Did a pretty good job on Ben Brown. What do you make of his performance?
Yeah, Buku was okay. I mean, the challenge for those Cougs is they're out there a long time, and it probably told a little bit in the last quarter with a couple of those skill errors offensively, and again, I reckon Melbourne kicked 6 to 8 goals from just blatant turnovers, which again we've felt like we're in a good place with. So we've got to tidy that up. It's just something that you can't give any opposition that opportunity, and we gave them too many easy ones.
Is that why Sanders was subbed out? Like he'd only just had his 4th turnover not long before that.
Yeah, it was a coincidence. Definitely not the reason.
Luke, can I ask you about the score review system? It really seems to come into sharp focus today. From my eyes, looked almost all of them just unnecessary, and 5 in the first half, 4 in the first quarter. How did you see it? Were you frustrated by it, and what can be done about it?
Yeah, look, I'm trying not to. I'd rather not comment too much. I think when they go to score review, I'm a bit apathetic towards it. I try and tune out and focus on probably what's going to happen after the review's finished more than anything. So, you notice it, but if it's topical, then as I said, I'm pretty neutral on it.
Were you at all, obviously it's a sensational player, but were you at all surprised at the level Clayton Oliver was at today? He looked unplayable in a couple of moments.
Oh, well, I think all the stuff that I've spoken about, with our inability to stop chains and stop some of their slower build-up. Clayton's a very good stoppage player as well, but it fueled a game for him as well. And I'm not surprised. He's a great player, but ultimately, I think when a mix from the opposition has some impetus and some momentum in the game, there's always someone from that mix that's going to possibly get off the chain. And when you're chasing score, you make that decision around negating and striking a balance offensively, and we couldn't get the balance totally right today.
Sam Darcy, where does he sort of fit in right now? Is you seeing him as a key forward ruck who's competing with Rory Lobb? Is he down back? Where does he exactly fit as far as getting?
Yeah, he's building up his match time, Sam. He played a lot of minutes again yesterday, so we're preparing him. To most likely be a ruck forward over time, and as I said, if we pick too many of the keys and rucks, it means our run and what the competition is challenging you with is compromised. So we'll work through that during the week.
Lockie Brown, pretty good first up performance for you guys.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Lockie, the stuff that Lockie's doing for us is really encouraging, and so if there's a shining light probably offensively, and he had his moments defensively where he was pretty strong. It's an encouraging performance from Lock.
Any injury concerns? I know Harvey got tested out at one point but went back on.
Yeah, he seems to be fine, Anna, so that's always a plus when you come out of a game and you haven't got too much turmoil or anything to worry about there. I think most of the boys have come through okay.
What do you make of Harvey on debut today?
Sorry, mate?
What do you make of Harvey's game on debut? Got a nice goal in the first quarter.
Yeah, I think he had his moments. Gags, Harvey. He played on the wing for most of the day, and there wasn't a lot of possession from the wingers in the game from either side. And but we switched him in that inside brigade in the last quarter. I felt he did some really good things in that last quarter. So now it's about building up experience and exposure, and he went okay.
Thanks, Will.
Thanks.